Well, good morning and welcome to Wake Up in the Word. Thank you for joining me. I'm recording this on a beautiful Monday, on a holiday in which I'm just enjoying some special time to catch up on some of my videos that we have missed, along with today's lesson from Psalm 97. Quickly, we'll do a devotional reading of Psalm 97 from the Holman Christian Standard Bible and look at what it says to us. God bless you and thank you for joining me today. This is one of those coronation psalms, a beautiful picture of God, our majestic King. Now, of course, it was written to herald in the days of the return of the Jewish people to Jerusalem and to the promised land, but also it points us toward the days in which the Lord returns to set up his reign over all the earth. Beautiful, beautiful words here. We begin in verse number 1 with, "The Lord reigns, let the earth rejoice, let the many coasts and islands be glad. Clouds and thick darkness surround him. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne. Fire goes before him and burns up his foes on every side. His lightning lights up the world. The earth sees and trembles. The mountains melt like wax at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the Lord of all the earth. The heavens proclaim his righteousness, and all the peoples see his glory. And all who serve carved images, those who boast in idols, will be put to shame. All the gods must worship him." Now, I want to stop there at the end of verse 7 because this description really makes us think about the second coming as well as just looking at the majestic picture of God in nature. Now, John Phillips elaborates on this some by saying, the God who planned the orbits of the planets, who mapped out the circuits of the stars, who keeps the glowing galaxies moving with awesome precision on predestined paths, this same God rules the affairs of men. And even though we may not be able to declare all his ways, he reveals himself to all mankind in his majestic creative works, and especially his works in the heavens. Well, at the Lord's coming, there will be astonishing signs in the sky. The heavens will be the heralds of his coming. There will be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and even before he cleaves the sky and comes back with the hosts of heaven behind him, the Lord's coming will be signaled to earth from on high. So it kind of confirms not only that we're worshiping the Lord who put all of this majestic universe together, but that one day he will, from the outskirts of that universe, demonstrate his power and his coming as he returns to set up his rule on this earth. As we begin in verse 8, it says, "Zion hears and is glad, and the towns of Judah rejoice because of your judgments, Lord. For you, Lord, are the most high over all the earth. You are exalted above all the gods, and you who love the Lord hate evil. He protects the lives of his godly ones. He rescues them from the power of the wicked." Now, as we get to that verse, in verse 10, it's one of those where people sometimes say, wait a minute, are we supposed to actually hate someone? It doesn't say hate a person, it doesn't say hate someone. What it does say is to hate evil. If you love the Lord, you're supposed to hate evil, hate wickedness, hate the things that hurt people, that damage people, that scar people. And for that reason, whenever there's a revival among the people of God, there comes a new attitude toward evil. In these days, we tend to coddle up to it and snuggle up to evil, play with it, flirt with it, almost as if it's fun. And because of that, many times we find ourselves doing things which we know are morally wrong, and we find ourselves falling into temptation and a snare that we were never intended to face, because we have forgotten that a love of the Lord equals a hatred of evil. And in this day and age, it seems like that's almost turned upside down. Now, if you read Romans chapter 1, you discover that a nation that has turned its back on God, resisted and suppressed the word of God, will ultimately turn everything upside down. That which has once been evil now becomes good, and that which has been good becomes evil. And you've seen that even in our own day, where now those who walk the walk of holiness and listen to the Word of God, obey its precepts, and live a godly life are now pointed out as bad for society and the kind of people you don't want in positions of authority in your government. No, you don't want those Christians that are living that Christian life. And no, 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 they're and we get the names. I'm not going to start with the name calling, but you hear them in the news media. We get called all the different names to try to label us. All of a sudden, that which is good has become bad. That which is bad has become good. Sin has become the lifestyle of choice. So, if you're going to understand what it means to be close to the Lord and have a holy walk with the Lord, you have to get a hold of verse 10. You who love the Lord, it says, hate evil. And if you hate evil, you understand how it hurts people, then you'll do everything you can to try to suppress it and keep it out of the lives of not only your friends and your neighbors, but especially your children and your grandchildren. Verse 11 says, light dawns for the righteous, gladness for the upright in heart. So be glad in Yahweh, you righteous ones, and praise his holy name. Beautiful psalm, beautiful song for the coronation time in the temple, as the new temple is now filled with worshipers are lifting their voices unto the Lord. But it also points to a time where we will lift those same praises, as praise choruses and worship songs before the Lord when he comes to rule and reign over an earth that has almost been shattered to the point of destruction, as he restores it and lifts it in righteousness and now demonstrates what it's like when we live under the complete authority of the righteous and holy Lord, our God. Listen, thank you so much for joining me today. As we've looked at Psalm 97, we're going to continue this march. If you love what we're doing, you just want to spend a few moments in the Psalms every morning as we finish them up, and then other parts of the Word of God, then please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to this channel so that we can stick it out and be here sharing a little bit each and every day right here as we wake up in the Word.